Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, got another Master Duel video for you. So today, I believe the day this video is going out, it should be the day, we actually have a new pack release, but it's not quite out yet at the time I'm recording this. But you know, one thing that I like to ask a lot when I'm looking at new packs coming out, something I think a lot of people ask themselves is this pack worth going into? And if so, what is worth getting in it and how much? Now, again, at the time I'm recording this, we don't know all of exactly what is in the pack, but we can definitely, of course, infer based on the, you know, Premier Ultras, right? So I figured we'd go ahead and take a look at those and some of these other notifications, see what's going on here. And I think tomorrow, we'll probably end up looking at, we'll either do pack openings or we'll look at duel lives featuring new decks / cards. And of course, after that, we will start playing, well, we might start playing some of these new decks. It depends on what all I decide to go on, which we'll figure out right here. So, let's see, issues related duels in solo mode. Interesting. And then maintenance notice, that'll be for, of course, when the pack drops. Alright, so let's see what we got here. A new secret pack. Okay, so this isn't the new selection pack, this is a new secret pack. Oh, but it actually does have some of the new cards, because I know this is in the new selection pack, which is kind of interesting. Illusion Beast's Roar. A new Chimera lets out a beastly roar. Fusion summon a legion of Beast, Fiend, and Illusion. Also check out Darkest Diablos. That's interesting. So they combined the Illusion Chimera stuff, and actually just kind of looks like generic Illusion stuff in general. And they're combining that with the Diablos archetype. It's a kind of a weird combination. I feel like, because usually, well, I guess they're fiends. Well, no, never mind, this is a dragon. Because I was going to say, usually, like, when two archetypes are grouped together in a secret pack, they fit, like, if not actually in a deck together, then, you know, thematically, but I think that one's kind of a little bit weird. Okay, this one makes a lot more sense. See, this is what I'm talking about. Dreaming Nemlaria is now going to be in the same pack as Madolche, including the new Madolche card. This is actually one of the new cards that's going to end up being in the selection pack. So that's, again, really interesting. I think this is the first time they've ever done this, where cards are debuting in the selection and secret pack at the same time, which I think is really nice. It's very user-friendly, right? Because some people are looking to just get all of the new cards as they're coming out to just add to their collection, whereas others are more like dedicated in trying to play a specific archetype. So this kind of release model really helps, you know, both players, and it's something we've been asking for quite a while, right? I don't think it's too much to ask to not have our new, like, not have archetypes be in selection or secret packs, like, you know, 6 months after the selection pack, right? So it's a very nice change. It's a really, really cool. Very glad to see that. A new selection pack is here. Oh, and don't worry, I did also notice the upcoming Forbidden Limited List update. We'll talk about that here in a moment. So, notice a new selection pack is here. A new selection pack has arrived. Starting, of course, on November 6th, which again should be today, the day this video goes out. Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction. So this is indicative of the Shining Sarcophagus archetype, which is a deck that is otherwise unrelated monsters that all care about this Shining Sarcophagus card. It's basically Little Yugi's deck, right? So I will say, okay, I'm going to go... Ooh, I didn't mean to bump that. We'll talk about Melodious here in a moment. I will go on a little bit of a rant here for a moment. And this is something that I've kind of always felt like for many years now, since it's really started. This is one thing I don't like about the everything being an archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think a lot of people will agree with this. One of the coolest things about particularly like Duel Monsters era, you know, players and their decks, you know, in the anime, is that there weren't really archetypes. It was all just kind of like monsters that either, like, you either had mini engines, like in the case of Little Yugi's deck, right? He had some gadget cards as an engine. He had some level monsters as an engine, but he also had cards like Gandora and Marshmallow that were just completely unrelated, right? But now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything has to be an archetype, and that alone actually does kind of bug me. But one of the things that really bugs me is when they go back to Duel Monsters era stuff, and they're like, hey, all these unrelated cards, alright, now they're in an archetype together, and it's just like, boo, boo. Same thing with like Joey stuff, where like, you know, Flame Swordsman and Red Eyes and Gearfried are all like getting cross support, and it's like, no, the thing that was cool is that they were all separate and their own thing that happened to be in the same deck. I don't know. Anyway, that's my whole tangent rant on that. But anyway, let's actually read the card itself. So we have Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction, is a level 8 Dark Dragon with 0 attack and defense that gains 300 attack for each banished card. You can only use each of the following effects of Gandora G, the Dragon of Destruction, once per turn. If you control Shining Sarcophagus, you can special summon this monster from your hand. You can pay half your life points, destroy as many other cards on the field as possible, and if you do, banish them. Then special summon one level 7 or lower monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus from your deck and increase its level by the number of cards destroyed by this effect. So you can already see that, you know, the level archetype is actually kind of somewhat making its way into here with the latter effect of Gandora G caring about that. Much like previous iterations of Gandora, this has the ability to field wipe in the form of a banish, but they did it in a roundabout way because, like, you know, destruction protection, cards that say cannot be destroyed, right? That is something that comes up a lot, but not nearly as many cards can protect themselves from being banished. So here it says you destroy and then banish, which is kind of a way of getting around that, right? Or I guess kind of a way of balancing the card, rather, the opposite of getting around it. Overall, the Shining Sarcophagus archetype is like fine. I mean, obviously we'll have to see. I mean, well, we already know what all the other cards in the deck are, but I won't bother like pulling them all up and reading through them all right here in this video necessarily. But you know, in the TCG and OCG, we didn't really see this archetype, you know, do the best. The little Yugi cards that did well was the toy archetype, actually, with the Whitewood stuff, which still doesn't come out in Master Duel yet. Very much looking forward to that, but hopefully we get that here soon. As far as the Shining Sarcophagus deck goes, I really don't expect it to be better than like mid-rogue at best. I've been wrong about decks that I've called mid-rogue at best in the past, but you know, this is not one where I'm too what's the word I'm looking for? I'm pretty confident in my assertion that this is probably not going to be a tiered archetype. All right, next up we have Melodious, as represented by Flowering Etoile, the Melodious Magnificent, or Magnificat, rather. Level 8, 2800 attack, 1500 fairy fusion effect. One Melodious Maestro monster plus 2 Melodious monsters are the fusion materials. Quick effect, you can banish until the end phase a number of Melodious monsters you control, then you can return up to that many face-up cards your opponent controls to the hand. You can only use this effect of this card once per turn. If this face-up fusion summoned card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon one Melodious monster from your deck or extra deck, except, you know, another copy of this card. So, cool thing about this card's art in particular is that she looks like Yuzu from Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, who is the character who played Melodious. So that's really cool. This card is also very good. The Melodious support in this pack is actually quite notable for being very good. You know, here we're only seeing the fusion monster, but I know they have the spell card, what is it, Ostentatio or something like that? That is a 1-card setup for not just Melodious plays, but like then it can get you into other stuff. That's the thing about Melodious, right? It's with this next wave of support, it's kind of one of those decks where it's kind of like Super Heavy Samurai in a way, where like it's a very good kind of pendulum-based deck in its own right, but it can also serve as an engine for a lot of different stuff. So Melodious, we did see in the TCG and OCG have a good bit of success, mostly as an outlet for Snake Eye plays. Will that be the case here in Master Duel? I would suspect probably not as much, although of course people will try it, but with Ash and Poplar, you know, both limited to 1, you know, even if you have an engine that can help you turbo out your Snake Eye stuff, it's still very hard to, you know, be able to reliably do Snake Eye stuff. Like, because even if you can turbo it all out, right, you know, Snake Eye boards are not, like, I mean, that's kind of always been the thing about Snake Eye, right? Like, the board itself is not too much terribly worse than anything else any other meta deck can put out. It's more just that Snake Eye has infinite follow-up. You had infinite follow-up, rather. But now that Ash and Poplar are at one, among other hits, you know, we're not seeing that kind of infinite follow-up. So, in that regard, it's not even as much about the consistency of getting the combo line out. It's that, you know, do you have anything else to do besides setting up a Snake Eye board? Because again, you know, a Snake Eye board is not quite as intimidating as when the deck first came out. Anyway, Melodious I would definitely expect to see quite a bit of experimentation with. Of the archetypes featured here, it's probably going to be the one that has the most competitive success. I could definitely see a world where Melodious, if not pure Melodious, you know, decks with a Melodious engine could be tier 3. But even if that's not the case, they will at the very least be upper rogue, in my opinion. So, alright, hey, we were just talking about Flame Swordsman earlier and how every individual DM era card has to... See, that's kind of the other thing, right? Not just, like, every individual DM card being connected by archetypes, but, like, why does every DM card have to be its own archetype, too? Like, I don't know. I get that Flame Swordsman is a lot of people's favorite card, but, like, does it really need its whole own archetype? Anyway, we're getting that here, the Flame Swordsman archetype. So Ultimate Flame Swordsman is going to be the sort of poster child for that. Level 8 Fire Fusion monster with 2000 attack, 1600 defense. Fusion materials are Flame Swordsman plus 1 Fighting Flame Dragon. The effect of this card is you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. This is a quick effect if this card is equipped with an equipped card. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles, you can double this card's attack until the end of this turn, but if you do, destroy it during the end phase of this turn. You can only use each effect of Ultimate Flame Swordsman once per turn. I mean, that's the other thing I have to complain, I guess, about a lot of these archetypes centered around old DM cards, is that they're rarely, like, it's not just a matter of not being good, they're just not interesting either. Oh boy, let's turbo out Conditional Trident! Yay! You know, with the attack doubling effect, that can maybe OTK, but you better OTK, because if you don't, you just lose your boss monster then. It's just not very inspired, you know? I don't know, it's like... I feel like, because like, part of me wants to ask, like, who is this card for? Because I feel like the average player whose favorite card is Flame Swordsman, to the point where they're a die-hard Flame Swordsman fan that they'll play this deck, is probably not very interested in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyway. And modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are not very interested in cards or, you know, decks like this, right? Or rather, decks that can turbo out cards like this. So, I don't know, you know, I just don't like this card, you know? And again, it's not for not liking Flame Swordsman. I just like, you know what this is? I actually just identified it. This gives me the exact same fatigue that the endless wave of reboots and remakes and prequels and sequels, like, just let the thing stand on its own, right? like with movies, like, let's let the movie stand on its own, and let's just, I don't know, make new movies. Like, we all already love Flame Swordsman. Why did it need its own bad archetype? The answer is that it didn't. Let's just leave Flame Swordsman alone and make other cool archetypes. Or, I don't know, if the archetype's gonna be bad, at least give it its own cool aesthetic. Anyway, this is my other rant about that. So... Alright, Madolche Queen Tiara Frasi, I'm sure I butchered that, is a card we already glimpsed at in the new secret pack, but let's go ahead and read the effect here. It's a rank 5 Earth Fairy, 2600 attack, 2500 defense. Material requirements are 3 level 5 Madolche monsters, but you're probably going to summon it by the first effect, which is, once per turn, you can also Xyz summon Madolche Queen Tiara Frasi by using Madolche Queen Tiara Masu you control. Transfer its materials to this card. Once per opponent's turn, quick effect, you can detach one material from this card, then target up to 2 Madolche cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, also shuffle up to the same number of cards your opponent controls into the deck. If this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card and sent to your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck. So, I actually love what they did with this card, because anyone who's played Madolche before this card got announced or revealed or whatever, you know, in like even the OCG, has probably had the same thought I've had while playing the deck, which is like, dang, if only Tiramisu was a quick effect, then it would be good in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And so they literally said, here's Tiramisu 2, stack it on the first one, this one has a quick effect, which, like, I can understand why people wouldn't like that kind of design. It does feel a little uninspired. I won't argue against that. But at the same time, I actually like it because, like, it still gives Tiramisu some amount of relevancy. I mean, to be fair, the card did already have, you know, relevancy as a going second card, but, like, you know, it's a lot of archetypes will do this where they will have, like, an iconic, can't say the word iconic without thinking of smiling Fritz. They'll have like an older, like iconic boss monster, but then when New Wave of Support comes out, it's kind of like, okay, well, don't make the old boss monster anymore because it's power crept. Make this new one instead. But now there's like incentive to make the old one using the new one, and it's not like I don't know. It's not like this even just straight up directly power creeps old Tiramisu, because old Tiramisu is still very useful as a going second card, right? And this is also only be able to be used on the opponent's turn, so it doesn't interfere with the role that regular Tiramisu has in the deck. So I like this card. I like it quite a bit. There are some pretty neat Madolche cards in the follow-up set, or as follow-up support in this set, rather. So I already own like all of the relevant Madolche URs, so I'll probably end up picking this deck up and trying it out. I still think Melodious is probably just the better deck between these two. If you're gonna only go for one archetype and you're wondering which is better, I think Melodious is probably stronger, but I don't think the Madolche stuff is bad at all. I don't think Madolche right now is a bad deck at all. It's like a mid-rogue deck, of course. I'm not gonna call it tiered or anything, but you know, this new support, I think, is going to be enough to push it into the upper tiered level status. So, alright, one new card we're going to take a look at here, and that is a Nightmare Apprentice, another card we already glimpsed at in one of the new secret packs. Nightmare Apprentice is like the Dark Magician Girl of the Illusion archetype, quite literally, with the same stats of level 6, Dark, 2000 attack, 17 air defense, but of course she is an illusion monster instead of a spellcaster. So, Nightmare Apprentice says you can special summon this card from your hand by discarding one card. You can only special summon Nightmare Apprentice once per turn this way. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one illusion monster from your deck to your hand, except a Nightmare Apprentice. You can only use this effect of Nightmare Apprentice once per turn. So, she's kind of like Illusion Dia Bellstar in a way, is kind of the vibe that I get when I read this effect, right? Where you can special her by sending the card like Diabell, and then Diabell sets a sinful card, which then often will end up adding, or rather summoning, you know, a monster, right? Whereas this, you know, just straight up adds the monster from your deck to your hand. That said, I don't really think this card will actually end up seeing play. I compare her to Diabell Star mostly in terms of what the effect does, not the power level of the effect, because the illusion type as a whole hasn't really produced any major decks. I mean, the Chimera deck it's respectable. I think, you know, in terms of power level, I think it borders on upper rogue. You know, it's probably middle rogue, but I think it does border on upper rogue. It is a solid enough deck in its own right, but this doesn't really do anything like... I mean, yeah, this can search illusion monsters, which the Chimera deck does play, but, like, they don't want to do that so badly that they would, I think, actually play the Nightmare Apprentice a lot of the time. And, like, there's also still the issue that, like, the best Chimera deck... I mean, maybe this isn't true. Maybe what I'm about to say isn't true. I am pretty ignorant of the Chimera, you know, archetype, but from what I remember when it released, / from what I can gather about it, the best Chimera deck tends to be, like, branded Chimera, which is, like, not the best branded variant, so... I don't know. Illusion as a type as a whole, I really don't know if this card is going to be enough to make it, like, viable, you know? So there's the 5 from this pack. Overall, my thoughts on this pack is that if you are only looking for the most competitive decks, as in, like, at least tier 2, if not tier 1, this is, I think, a very skippable pack. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Melodious as an engine will surprise us and be more powerful than anticipated, but historically we haven't seen that, so I wouldn't expect to see that here in Master Duel either. Real quick before we finish off here, I will briefly touch upon the Forbidden Limited List update. That is Gandora X, the Dragon of Demolition, and Silva, Warlord of Dark World, being lifted from banned to 3, which is a little surprising. Like, these cards, while not super meta in this, are just OTK facilitators. So, I don't know if Konami is just saying that, like, hey, we don't think these OTKs are enough of a problem to ban them, or if, I don't know, I guess that is what they're saying by lifting the ban. To be fair, these cards, at least Silva, has been legal in TCG, like, the entire time, and Dark World FTKs haven't run rampant, right? They've been a little annoying from what I can tell, but not anything even close to, like, meta defining. And Gandora X, I don't know if that's legal in TCG or OCG, but I haven't heard of this card causing issues, so hopefully we'll be fine. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that these won't just enable stupid FTKs, but that's going to go ahead and do it for this video, I think. So thanks for tuning in. Like I said, we will be doing pack openings. If I choose to open the packs, I'm actually still a little on the fence about that for myself. Because I do want Madolche stuff, but it really just depends on how good I think Melodious is going to be and how much I want to try to go into that. But either way, we will watch, if at the very least, watch people playing the new cards in Duel Live. So thanks for watching this video. Super appreciate you. Let us move now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up, and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.